So hi guys and welcome to this video. Today we have a special guest, the Admission Associate Director of IESE Business School, Luisa Amaral. Welcome, Luisa.
Thank you, Anis. Thank you guys for being here.
So today we're going to talk about IESE MBA program and MIM program. So first we're going to talk about the MBA. We know IESE Business School is a top business school in the world and in Europe. In Europe, you have 3 or 4 or 5 serious competitors like INSEAD, HEC, LBS, IMD, and Oxford or others. So I want to know what differentiates IESE Business School MBA program from other top business schools in Europe.
Great. Thanks for your question. I would say we have 3 main things that we try to differentiate. The first one being the experiential learning, or the way we focus on business cases and the practical learning here. So all the teaching at IESE is done by cases. So you prepare your case first by yourself, and then after you discuss with the team, and then you go to the class where the professor acts kind of like a maestro, driving the discussion for the main points for that subject. And this is something that is very unique about IESE because it gives the candidates the opportunity to learn through doing. And we totally believe on this methodology. The second thing would be the global experience. So here at IESE, we do value diversity, and we have a class that, although we are in Spain, we have less than 25, I think, % of people that come from Spain. Our idea is to have people from all over the world. I am actually Brazilian. I didn't present myself in the beginning, but I am Brazilian and I'm IESE MBA 2022. So I just graduated from the program as well. And this is something that also caught my attention in the program, that even though we are in Barcelona, we are not actually living in a place that we have a lot of people from Barcelona. The experience is not about Spain. We have a lot of people from Asia, from the Americas, and this is something that totally changed the scope and especially the point of views that we have during the case discussions. And the third thing, and I think that's the reason why I chose IESE in the beginning, is that it is a school that is very focused on values and on its mission. IESE has the idea of creating leaders that will change the society in a positive way and will impact the society in a way that we are focused more on people, on the humanistic side of business. And this is something that it's not only in our wall, we live that, and we do believe that we need to train people to be better leaders, but overall better people. And I feel that we can see that in the admissions process, but we also see this when they go back to the market or to the job market and act as leaders in their new jobs.
Okay, great. So let's talk now a bit about the acceptance rate at IESE MBA program and the criteria. Do you know, do you have an idea about the acceptance rate?
I do have an idea, but we don't share. What I can tell you about it is mainly of course, it will vary by region. So imagine that we get much more applications for a specific region than from another. So it will change. And we also change based on the profile. We have to have a very, we call it high touch admissions process, where you have the chance to talk to the admissions director before you even apply. And sometimes we don't encourage people to apply because they're not the profile. So as I said, more than just wanting the numbers, we want people to fit here and to feel welcome in our community. And so we give, for example, in our website, anyone who wants can ask for feedback on your profile, and someone will contact them, asking them more questions and understanding if it should apply or not.
Okay,
so this is something that helps or not our acceptance rate.
Okay, great. So let's dig deeper in the criteria that you
Yes.
look for in a candidate. So first, I have a lot of people calling me and asking me that business schools always accept engineers and people from business and finance background. Sometimes people call me, they have backgrounds like they are doctors, they are philosophers, they are researchers, they come from a literature background, lawyers, maybe artists. So, are you open for this type of profiles or not? What can you tell me about this question?
Yes, we're open, and I would encourage them to apply. Of course, it's not a straightforward process in the regards that sometimes the GMAT, for example, for an artist can be a big hurdle. Or maybe the work experience that we ask for a doctor will be different than the work experience we are going to ask for an engineer. So the best answer for this question, I would say that is encouraged. This profile is more than welcome. We're looking for those people, and I believe that business schools all over the world are now even more welcoming this profile. But it's important to talk to the admissions first. And at IESE, as I said, we welcome and we're very open to that feedback before, in order to kind of tailor your application to the brightest side for the admissions committee.
Okay, great. Understood. So now, since you talked about the GMAT, I know there is no minimum score. That's what
Yes.
the schools mentioned, but we all know that GMAT is an important factor in the admission process. So I want you to tell me more about the GMAT. How much should someone score? Also, the relation between GMAT and his profile, and his maybe his nationality, maybe his his age. For example, for some professions, you told me artist, maybe you don't ask for a high GMAT. It's different like a GMAT from an engineer, because we know that engineers are more familiar with math. So maybe you ask them for a better GMAT. So tell me more about the GMAT. Is there a minimum? There's no minimum, as I said, but is there what you can tell me more about the GMAT? So how much should someone score?
Okay, that's a great question. I think one thing about the GMAT that we say is that the GMAT is part of your application. So no one is admitted or is rejected based on the GMAT.
Definitely.
And that's the reason why a lot of people tell me like, I don't know if I want to do an MBA because I don't want to study for the GMAT. Maybe due to your background, with some good orientation, some good mentoring, you can study less and get a decent score and already apply with that decent score. No one needs to have a 760 GMAT in order to apply anywhere, not only to IESE, but to other schools as well. What I can tell is we do have an average GMAT that is available in our website to 680. And I would say that people that have a higher GMAT than that, it's seen with I would say like as a positive. It's something good to have, and it helps a lot, especially on the scholarship committee as well. And people with lower GMATs would take into consideration other aspects. That one of them, for example, is the work experience. If you have a lower GMAT, but you have a very bold work experience that, for example, you grew in your career a lot in a very specific period of time, and this shows on your CV, or you have a very different background and a different experience that we would like to have in class. As you said, maybe we're not going to expect a very high GMAT from an artist, for example, but we understand that this person is going to bring more to class than just the GMAT knowledge or the GMAT logic behind this. What I usually say is you need to think that the GMAT will not speak for itself as a result, but will help you assess your application.
Okay.
And another thing that you also mentioned that I think it's important is an engineer, for example, that has a very low math score. This is something that we would take with some care. You know what I mean? because you probably have something on your CV or on your during your bachelor's, for example, that might be interesting to dig deeper.
Okay, and about the regions,
Mhm.
the regions are important in the GMAT evaluation or not? For example, let's say the school wants to get more diversification.
Mhm.
They need more people from this region, for example, to make a good balance. You could tolerate a lower GMAT, or it's not the case?
I don't think we when we are on the committee, this is not something that we bring up in the sense that like, oh, so it's from this region that let's accept a lower GMAT. We take more on the candidate specific. So if you
Okay.
have a lower GMAT, but you also don't have the work experience that we are looking for, you also don't have the like the recommendations are not strong, also the essays are not strong. Even if you are from a region that we have no one in class, that's going to be very hard for us to
Okay.
assess.
Okay, great. I understand. So now we talked a bit about the profile, about the GMAT. Let's talk about other factors. You told me about work experience that it could compensate a low GMAT.
Mhm.
But let's talk more about, for example, the transcripts, the extracurricular activities, the TOEFL
Mhm.
score. I want to know
Mhm.
more the importance of these factors because some people tell me, oh, Anis, I have like 12 over 20 in my transcripts. It's not good grades. I cannot do an MBA. So,
Mhm.
what could you tell us more about the transcripts, the TOEFL score,
Mhm.
and other factors?
Sure. Okay, so about other we're still on the hard factors, right? So we're talking about the scores and everything. So inside those factors, I would say that the TOEFL, for example, is something that we access together with the ability of the person to speak in an interview, or the ability of the person to communicate well with uh, their peers. So our main goal with the TOEFL is you need to have a minimum score in order for us to be able to give you your diploma, because you get a English diploma, right?
So, what's the
Uh,
score?
it's 100.
100 to
Uh,
get the diploma from IESE and not to get
yeah.
admitted. So in order to get
No,
admitted,
it's to get admitted, yes, but
to get
we do
admitted,
this.
okay, it's
Mhm.
100. Okay.
Yeah, we do this the block in the beginning, because after you are admitted to the MBA, it's very hard that you're gonna get the TOEFL because you're focused on other things.
Definitely.
But what we say always is, first, we have exemptions for the TOEFL for people that have been working in English, for example, for people that did their bachelor's in English, or for anyone that has had a diploma in English through their lives. This is something that you can apply for an exemption, and it's very common, especially from candidates that are coming from Europe. And it's something that we are usually open to discuss as well, regarding the the ability to speak English. The second thing that you mentioned was the transcripts, right? So what was your GPA during your college? This is something that we don't look that much as we look, for example, for the MIM, for the Master in Management. And I will explain why. The main reason is after you graduate from your bachelor's, usually you have 3, 5, 8, 10 years of working experience until you do your MBA. And what you do on those years matters to us more than what you did in your college. A lot of people that come to IESE, they come to IESE because they didn't like what they did in their bachelor's. And so we shouldn't assess their performance based on that thing that already happened 10 years ago. And so I would definitely encourage someone that says to you, oh, I have a 12 under 20. Don't worry. Apply, try to get a good GMAT score, show us that you are academically able to study, and we are not going to consider that with a high weight.
Okay, great. So what can you tell me more about other factors? in the admission, what candidates should focus on?
I think one thing that this is specific about IESE, I think, as I said in the beginning, we are a high-tech school. So we have an admissions team that likes to give feedbacks on profiles, that we are very open. I think like we are very open about our criteria, about how the admissions committee happens and things like that. And we really like to have people that are a good fit as a person to the school. So whenever we see that a candidate is willing to talk to our alumni, to get recommendations from those alumni, to come to the school, attend in-person events, meet us at fairs, for example. We have an admissions team that is traveling all the time. I always say that our events page has at least 3 pages because our main idea is to provide opportunities for our candidates to meet us. And this is something we value. And I would recommend to anyone in their admissions process to go talk to the school, see if that program fits you as well. And I see that a lot of people, they've already like, oh no, I don't want to do IESE because it's too hard, or I don't want to do IESE because of this other reason. Go to campus, try to visit any other event or alumni event that is happening on your city maybe. And this is something that we value. And I understand that this is a very good decision factor for the candidate as well.
Okay. So I understand we have 3 main factors candidates should focus on: the work experience, getting very good work experience, getting good GMAT, and having a fit with IESE, understanding the value, meet the team, and see if there is a fit or no, and if there is a fit, they should apply. So that's it.
Yes. I would say that just as a thing, the requirement for like GMAT and TOEFL, they're basic requirements. Then on top of that is like having a good experience that can be a work experience, extracurricular experiences, and then on top of that all, it's having a fit with the school, with its mission, with its people, and understanding more about it.
Yeah. Okay, great, thank you. So speaking about the criteria, let's talk a bit about the MIM of IESE Business School. So the MIM, there's a difference between the MIM and the MBA, that you look more into the transcripts. Okay.
Yes.
To see if it's good or not and everything. So, what can you tell me more? Is there any other differences in the admission process, admission criteria between the MIM and the MBA?
Yes, I think the main difference about the MBA and MIM is that the program is designed for people in different times of their careers. So the MIM is for people that are just out of university or with 1 or maximum 2 years of work experience. And then we cannot assess a lot on their work experience, right? Because we accept people that are actually just out of university as well. So imagine that if you're 1 year out of university, we cannot wait too much on what you're doing, because usually you're even experiencing, it's your first job. So maybe you're not going to grow a lot. You're not going to have the best recommendation from your boss because you're still learning. And usually you're going to do the MIM or the MIM because you didn't like your job. So we focus on you having a good grade on your school. And of course, we are going to consider what you did and where you did as well. So if you come from a university that we know that the average GPA is lower, we are not going to consider, or we are not going to compare with another school that has a higher GPA. You know what I mean? Just for people to understand that it's not a black and white comparison, and it's not something that should refrain people to apply. But it's the way that we can see if people are academically prepared to join the program, because it is a very heavy academically program, and I think it's very academically driven as well.
Okay, great, thank you. So now let's speak about finding a job after the MBA program. A lot of people asked me, in recent years we had very tough events, the pandemic, and now the war, inflation.
Yes.
People are talking about the recession, and some people are afraid of this. So tell us more about finding a job after IESE, especially in these difficult times. Do you help students or not? I know that there is some MBAs that they don't help students very well. I hear it a lot. So
Yeah.
what about IESE? What can you do to help students? What are you doing to help students get some good offers, especially in these tough times?
Yes. I think that's also a very good question because that's also one of the reasons a lot of people come to IESE. So they want to do an MBA because of the curriculum of the MBA, but especially because of the jobs that they can assess after they do it. And I think this is something that here at IESE we value a lot as we nurture and we want to have very strong connections with the future employers that would like to have MBAs. And so, as you asked, what we are doing right now, we are being even closer to those employers. We know that even when things are hard, when things don't go right, people are still hiring, but they're hiring less and they're hiring a very specific profile. So we are making sure that we have this very specific profile. And that's what we do internally. We try to train our students to be the best in their interviews, to be the ones that know more about those companies, to be the ones that have the best connections inside those companies. Having alumni inside and alumni that are open, they're willing to try, they're willing to help and do mock interviews with our students. We bring our alumni from those companies, for example, to campus to talk to the students. We have a career fair. Our career fair was actually this week, where we had a lot of companies inside IESE just kind of like presenting their company. So even though we are in a very hard time, and we know the job market is not as heated as it was some years ago, we still had a lot of companies coming here wanting to hire, fighting for the good talent that we have inside. And I believe this is due to a very good and also a big team that we have from the CDC, the Career Development Center. They're just focused on nurturing the relationship we have with the employers, getting their feedbacks, understanding the profiles they're looking for, and then we kind of give this feedback to our students and we prepare them to join those companies.
Okay, great. Great. So you have a team that helps students to get their job, right? Just okay.
It is just I didn't mention this very clearly, but we have a team that is divided by sector. So we have a person, for example, an associate director just for technology. We have another person that is just for services, another person just for consulting. I think we have like 5 people in the consulting team, for example. We have 3 people in the finance team, and they do this dual thing, that is they talk to companies to understand what they need and to make sure that they show their job positions internal at IESE. But they also talk to the students to prepare the students, to talk to them about the alternatives, to do kind of like career counseling, career coaching to every student that wants to go to that sector.
Okay, great. And also a question that people ask me concerning the ROI of an MBA. We see that the prices of the MBA are increasing everywhere.
Yes.
Okay, and we see the salaries in the recent years are a bit lower than what we saw in 2019. Okay, so in terms of ROI, when you pay more to get a bit less salary, it's a bit not very good, not very motivating, let's say. So what can you say about the ROI of MBAs generally, and about also the ROI of doing an MBA at IESE Business School, considering that they will stay 19 months or 15 months of the market, so they will not get their salary and they will pay the tuition fees of IESE. And about the ROI, is it worth it to do an MBA?
Yeah. I think I have two things to say about it. The first one is, um, I think the MBA, and I did the MBA myself thinking about it. It's a unique opportunity that you have when you are on your mid 30s, or whatever age, to stop your career for 2 years or stop your job for 2 years and still grow on your career. So you're out of the market for 2 years, but when you leave, you're seen from the market as better than as when you were before. So I am very sure that if I had stayed on my old job, and I'm sure I share this view with a lot of people, I wouldn't grow as much as I grew uh, on those 2 years. That being said, I think that the ROI has two sides. One side is the return over investment, that it's clearly on the investment. You're going to pay X and you need to get X plus something, right? And I believe this is a long-term thing that will, of course, take into consideration your immediate salary that you get right after you leave the MBA. And maybe this will not be as high as it was in 2019, but I mean, I doubt it, because I believe more and more we have more places that are hiring MBAs. And I think that the salaries are still increasing, if we make an average. And we need to think also where those people are going to be 3 years after they left the MBA. 5 years after they left the MBA, 10 years after they left. So this ROI, I think it's a curve that only grows as time passes, you
Yeah,
know?
definitely.
And it's a very, very important inflection point on your salary when you do an MBA.
Exactly. I confirm. I have seen a lot of people who doubled or even tripled their income after MBA. So I totally agree, 100%. It's a long-term investment and it's very, very important. So now, let me ask you a question. I have a lot of engineers who work in engineering, from the technical side, and they want to move to consulting and or finance. You know, this is a
Yeah.
typical case. Okay, so if we can see in Europe, we have two main capitals, very competitive to get into Paris and London. So especially in consulting and in finance. So if someone did an MBA at IESE Business School with an engineering background, can he easily get an offer in consulting or investment banking in top European cities, or it's going to be difficult?
I like to say that easily get into consulting or investment banking is never a truth. What I say is that being at IESE or doing the MBA at IESE, you're going to have the highest chance.
Really?
Yes,
Not in
we,
Spain. I know in Spain the
yeah,
presence
yeah,
of IESE is very good, and I know
yeah.
if someone wants to work in Spain, it's not going to be very difficult, especially
Uh-huh.
if he speaks Spanish. So,
Yeah.
but in terms of London and
Yeah.
European
Well,
capitals,
I think those European capitals, they take more into account than just where you did your MBA. So for example, if you want to work in Paris and you're not fluent in French, even though you can be very, very smart, that's not gonna count as on like as something positive for you, you know? And
mm,
Paris has been a very hard market for consulting because more and more they have specific projects that are not growing, and then they're not like hiring as much as they were before. So what I like to say is, especially for the MBBs, so McKinsey, Bay, and BCG, we have a very straight connection with them, a relationship with them, and we are one of the schools that we have the highest number of offers every year. And this is because we prepare our students well, and we give like a very high chance of this person to get an offer. Of course, this will depend a lot of the students and their interview performance. So sometimes the person is very smart, but during the interview, you get nervous, you don't do the math correctly or something like that. And I also think this has a lot to do with the other aspects that you have on your CV and language. So moving to those very competitive markets or those very competitive offices has a lot to do with the little things, right? It's not more about only the school that you went.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay. So also a question concerning financing the MBA. We know that it's around 90,000 euros, and we have cost of living in Barcelona and everything. How can someone finance the MBA at IESE? Do you have some partnerships with banks or any other institutions that could offer some loans, maybe?
We have a global partner that is Prodigy. They offer this partnership for a lot of schools as well, and coming from a lot of markets. I would say that Europeans have more opportunities even because you can look for a local bank that will make you lower than euros, which helps a lot already.
In his country or in Spain?
In their own country, you can look for a loan usually, and we have some local partners. But here in Spain as well, so we have a big partner here that is Banco Sabadell, that they offer up to 80% of the tuition, for example. And this is something that we see that a lot of our students they use, and it is an opportunity for financing. After you get admitted, this is something that we help as well. So we have the financial aid office here at IESE that will support you and understand the opportunities you would have. We have sessions with them. It's something that we care a lot because we know it's directly linked to the wellness.
Okay. So Prodigy is great. I heard a lot of people used it and they financed their MBA. But some people told me that the rates are high to borrow money. Okay. So if someone is not European, let's say someone coming from Asia, Africa, or South America, is it easy to get a loan from your partner in Spain or not?
Not very easy. We do have other options. We are working also with CaixaBank right now, for example, that they are considering some profiles. But we always say that it's more based on the bank than based on us. And honestly, I cannot guarantee that someone coming from a very different nationality, or not nationality, but coming from a work experience in another country and all the income on another currency will have an easy access to a loan here in Europe.
Okay, I see. Okay, in terms of scholarships, I saw your profile on LinkedIn, and I saw that you got a scholarship.
I did.
So, could you tell us more about scholarships in general? And is it common to get a scholarship at IESE or not? Is there some type of excellence scholarship or something or not? And tell me more also about your specific scholarship you've got.
Sure. So, starting with how common it is. So we try to give scholarships to specific profiles or to profiles that we want to have in class. And also we try to give scholarships to people that demonstrate a stellar background during their careers.
So could you give me an idea about a profile? Give me one example about a stellar profile that can get a good scholarship.
Yes. So first, someone that has shown growth in their work experience. So someone that has started as something and then either made like a lateral move inside the same company and then a upper move, or someone that has grown consistently, moving for like 2 or 3 companies, or maybe like an entrepreneur that had a company that he or she made an exit on that. So some work experience that would impress us in a positive way. But I think this is not easy to spot, but usually you know when you have that type of working experience. For the scholarship, we do consider the GMAT score. So you don't need to have, you need to have at least 700 to get a scholarship. No, that's not true. But if you have a lower GMAT, that's going to be harder.
Definitely.
And so to continue on the description of the person, so someone that has a growth in their working experience that shows some capacity of movement inside their careers, someone that has a high GMAT or a high GRE. Also someone that has engaged with the school, as I said before, and we know them well. So also we don't want to give scholarships to people that are very good on paper, but whenever they sit in front of us, we don't like them as a person. I don't see that person as my teammate. So what we do is what they call in the consulting world the airport. Sorry?
Elevator test?
Yeah, it could be the elevator test. So they say the airport test as well. It's like, would the partner of the company be happy to have this associate with him or her for 2-3 hours in an airport? And that's what I do is also my team, the team test. So would I like to have this person on my team? Would that person be good on a case discussion, for example? And if I understand this person has a higher chance to get a scholarship, for example, and I can only see that when I see this person on action. So when I go to a campus visit with this person, when this person attend an open day or something like that.
Okay, great. And what about your specific scholarship you got? What could you tell us?
Got the fellow. Yes, I got a scholarship that was specific for women. We do have a specific bucket, I would say, for women inside IESE, which means that for any means we just give scholarship to women. There are a lot of men that are scholarship holders, but we have different names also for scholarships. And one of the scholarships we give is the fellow, the Forte Fellow, scholarship, and it's the Forte Foundation. They encourage more women to apply to MBA, and also they encourage more and more women to network within themselves. So being a Forte Fellow means that I access this network, and it's something that has helped me a lot as well as a student. And for this, I had to show kind of a specific profile on my career. So I was working with tech before, I worked in a startup also. So this was something that I believe caught their eyes when they chose me as a scholarship holder.
Okay, great. Very good. So I want to ask you now if you can tell me quickly about the admission process from A to Z, just to take an idea. So first, they should contact you first, and then apply. And tell me the best way to apply and how it is the admission process, all the admission process.
Perfect. So the first thing to do is to get to know the school and understand if you want to study. And this can be done in many ways. I usually recommend to attend an event. So we have online events. We have specifically the open days. We have almost one open day per month. So try to participate. We have online open days. We have Barcelona open days. If you're willing to travel, it is a great experience. You're going to have the chance to meet alumni, to sit in a class, to actually have lunch or breakfast with a student. We also talk to admissions. So try to go to one of those events. After you attend one of those events and you think like, oh, good, I feel good, I think that the people here are nice, yes, it would be an option for me. You probably are going to talk to the associate director of your region. This can be either reactive or proactive. So usually after you attend an event, someone from the admissions team would like to talk to you. If this doesn't happen reactively, you can proactively look for someone on the admissions team and ask for a feedback on your profile, ask for informative interview, where you're going to kind of tailor what would be your next step. Okay? So after you talk with someone, or after you come to an event, or you say like, no, I'm ready to open an application, you go online and you start your application. We ask for at that time for you to have your GMAT or your GRE score. You will have to do some essays as well. Each year it changes, but usually we ask about like, what do you want to be remembered for, or how would you contribute to the class, or what are your career plans, things like that. That I always say that it's important that you do those essays with care, but not with extra care and like be years and years writing those essays. Treat this as an email, like a very important email you would send to your boss. After you do this, so the essays, the admissions test, the English test, you're gonna put some recommendation as well on the application. So you're gonna set your recommenders and send them an email to send the letter. After that, you need to do this on a round, right? So after you send your application before the round deadline, we have already a specific timing that you're gonna decide if you're gonna be interviewed or not. If you have a positive interview outcome, you're going to be invited to schedule an interview on your best time with this specific associate director. And you are also going to be invited for an assessment day. You do the process interview, you come to the assessment day. Just a parenthesis here, the assessment day is usually a morning that can be here in Barcelona, depending on where you live. You're going to be invited to do it online or here in Barcelona. It is a morning that you are going to kind of be in a team discussion, and we are going to see how you perform. Usually it's very fun. The feedback that we have is that everyone is super concerned about how it's going to be the assessment day. Oh my God, but it's fun to the candidate. And after we have these three things, the application, the interview report, and the assessment day report, we take this candidate to the committee, to the admissions committee, and we give a decision, either a positive or a negative decision to either country.
Okay, great. So a very important question. Some people worry a lot about the round. They tell me, oh, I have 600 on the GMAT, but I need to apply now second round because I don't want to apply on the third round. I always say to the person, take your time, enhance your profile, get a better GMAT, and apply on the third round. If your GMAT is better, you get better chances. So I know the round might be important. So I want to hear it from you. Is it that important, or there's no importance for the round? What can you tell me about the rounds?
Yes, I like your advice. I agree with this 100%. I always say to my candidates, apply when you think your application is the strongest, and take into consideration the round, but take into consideration also the other aspects of your application. I don't like to see a candidate that kind of like burns him or herself on the first round with a very weak application because it was the first round and they wanted to apply in the first round. But that being said, I also encourage people to apply if they think their application is strong enough and they're going to sit to do the GMAT again 1-2 weeks after the round deadline. Apply with the score that you have. Tell the admissions person, I am going to retry my GMAT in 2 weeks from now. And I will send you the score once I have it.
That's very good. Yeah.
And we love having this because we have the best of both worlds, right? So whenever we are sitting for the admissions committee, we already have the new score of that person, and the person has applied on a round that we can actually access with more care. Just a parenthesis here. The round has a lot to do with the region as well. So round 4, that is the candidates that we give the answers almost in June. It is very hard for us to admit someone in June that will come from a region that needs visa, for example.
Exactly.
So if you need a visa, try to apply early, mostly because otherwise we know that you're going to be a problem for us and we're going to admit you, but you're not going to be able to come. So it's not that your application is stronger in the round one. It's because otherwise you're not going to come, and we're not going to admit you and say that you have a spot when we know that you're not going to be able. So just take into consideration this. But of course, if you're coming from France, you can apply on the round 4 if your application is strong enough.
Okay, great. Okay, so last question about you and about the program. You are a IESE MBA graduate. So I want you to tell me more about your experience in this program. I want you to tell me more about this program also. And also I want you to tell me, why did you choose to work after your MBA for IESE? Usually people who wants to do MBA, they told me consulting, MBB,
Yes.
Goldman Sachs. So what can you tell us about all this?
Yes, I think as one thing is linked to another. The experience that I had at IESE and the reason why I decided to work for the school after are linked. So what happened, I think it's, even though I got a lot of academic knowledge, and I learned a lot about mainly about like business problems and a lot of hard knowledge and hard skills that I got inside, I transformed myself as a person. So during those 2 years, I had the chance to be much more open to other perspectives, to learn a lot about diversity, to learn a lot about representativity and like how important it is for us to grow as a person, as someone that will make the difference in the society, as I said in the beginning. And I believe the more and more I learned that inside IESE, the more I wanted to be in a position that I would be able to enable others to have the same experience that I had. So one of the reasons why I decided to work for IESE is that I believe that I need and I will help more people to have the same experience that I had. And maybe they will use this experience to do something else different than me. I'm not saying that everyone that will come will work for IESE after,
Definitely.
but that was my way of kind of giving back and understanding that I can be someone that will inspire people to come to IESE and to live this experience as I had the chance to do. So this was the reason. Also because I did consulting in the summer, and even though I received the full-time offer, I decided that consulting was not really for me.
Why?
I think before the MBA, I was working with execution mainly. So I was in sales positions, but executing projects, delivering results, and doing things that I could see the result. And in consulting, usually you do a project, and sometimes you don't even know if that project is going to be implemented or not. You leave the client. And I know there is a very large and broad spectrum of consultancies, and maybe you can work with implementation, you can work with execution, but that was not my experience. And that was the reason why I decided not to come back. And I wanted to work with something, as I said before, something that I could see the result and I would like the results. And that's why like admissions is somewhere I like, because I can see that the student will come or not, and the transformation also once they're here.
Yeah, exactly. That's great. Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, Luisa, for your time. For those who are interested in contacting Luisa, I will put her email in the description of this video. You can also find my WhatsApp number, my email, if you want to prepare the GMAT, or if you want some assistance writing the essays or preparing for the interviews, some guidance, you can contact me. See you in another video. Thank you so much, Luisa. And
thank you.
we'll stay in touch.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.